Hey, welcome everybody to the Gaming Show. I am one of your half hosts, Fred Watt. And today we released a video. We all have seen it of Will Smith smacking Chris Rock. And I wanted to share more light on that. Not that experience, but we're talking about bullying. And I say this because I've known of this of personal experience, right? But before we start anything, It's Over Prime is coming next week. And to kick off It's Over Prime, we have a contest. Okay. So one of you lucky YouTube subscribers or one of you lucky YouTube family members, because when you subscribe to the Gaming Show, you're a part of the family. You have to answer a question and you have to answer it in detail and why. And you will win a copy of Spider-Man No Way Home when it hits Blu-ray, I believe Tuesday. So if you are friends with us on Facebook, I will send it to you in your inbox. If you are a YouTube subscriber, follow us on Facebook and I'll put it in your inbox so we don't get any type of confusion. Some people may email us and say, yeah, it's you, and then we give you the code, and hey, once the code is given, is pretty much nothing that we can do. So add us as a friend on Facebook, and if you give the correct answer, then you will win a prize. Now the question is, if Hot Rod or Rodimus Prime, whichever one you want to call him, if he had to go to Cybertron court, what would he be charged with? And let me say that again, okay? If Rodimus Prime had to go to Cybertron court, what crime would he be charged with, and why would he be charged with that crime? Now you have to answer that in full detail, okay? So, getting into the topic at hand, bullying. I speak on this because I have gone through it myself. And let me put the advisor warning up there. Because it is going to get explicit. Now, kids, parents, I would advise you to, I'll try to refrain from too much of the explicits, but I'm really passionate about this subject because I had to go through this and I'm still dealing with this to this day. Okay. So, I would advise you parents to look at this video, and then if I say anything, like if I, accidentally curse, because I'm going to try to refrain from that, doing that, because I really want this video to gain some popularity, right? And some traction. Do what you need to do, but I think that kids over a certain age need to hear this, right? So bullying, and the reason why I'm speaking on this because of the incident that happened with Chris Rock and Will Smith, and a lot of people are like on Will Smith's side about, yeah, he's defending his wife, and now his wife comes out, if y'all didn't heard, said that she don't need defending and all this other stuff, so she's throwing him under the table. So now you have somebody that's being manipulated, and you have somebody that's being bullied, right? And that kind of fits into what I'm talking about today. Now, I have been bullied as a child, right? And for me, it came out of nowhere. Because, okay, I get it. I'm a weird guy, right? I like Transformers. I like collecting Transformers. I like playing video games. I like wearing my Super Mario Brothers hat with the little poof poof on top of it. I like playing chess. I'm not into sports, right? So I'm kind of an odd a odd type of guy, right? That's what a lot of people look at me and perceive me to be, this kind of funny duddy dude. But what they don't understand is behind this face, and I don't brag or boast because I've been beaten up plenty of times, right? And I've given my share of butt kickings as well. So behind this mask, behind what you see, is a person that will retaliate, and will retaliate viciously if I'm pushed to a corner, right? And it backed into a corner. But it has not always been that way with me, right? So, and people say, well, why do you go on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and just embarrass yourself and say all this stuff, and it makes you look weak, right? It takes a real man or a real woman to admit that they have been through something, and not to brag or boast about it, but to say it so it can help others. There's other people that has that's out there that may be an earshot of this video that may have gone through some of the things that I went through, and they may not have the money or the resources to get the help that they need. Maybe my voice or maybe something that I say would trigger them to either go out and get help or will band-aid the situation, which is not a good thing, but might help them cope and let them know that they're not alone in this, right? So let's take it back to like the 80s, right? I'm this little skinny kid. Believe it or not, I used to be a real skinny kid, right? I'm this skinny kid living on Booker T Drive in Palmer Park, right? I get Palmer Park and Seat Pleasant confused, right? Now, I'm not talking about where the Sugar Ray Leonard Center is, and I'm not talking about the Independent Market. That's Seat Pleasant, right? Seat Pleasant is where the police station is, right? But I grew up in Palmer Park on Booker T, right? So as a young kid, I didn't experience bullying because all the kids in our neighborhood were pretty cool. You had Anton, which he was a little bit younger than us. He had his sister Rosalind, rest in peace, Rosalind. She just passed not too long ago. I believe it was last year. Then you had Clarence Coley. Then you had Jamie that lived up the street that had all them cats and stuff like that. And then there was another guy that lived up the street with his grandmother. I can't remember, but I remember when I was locked up, he was my cellie. When I was locked up in Upper Marlboro. And I was like, damn, man, I know you from somewhere. And then we started reminiscing. But that was us. And the guy that lived up the street with his grandmother really wasn't part of the crew. It was just probably like me, Clarence. I think whenever his cousin Dave came over to the neighborhood, and the two twins, I forget. It was two twins that lived up the street too, and had a sister named Net. I forget what those guys' name were, but that was pretty much our crew right there. And then Kareem, the basketball guy, he had a basketball court in his yard, so we would always be up either Kareem house, either playing basketball or touch football and stuff like that. So we were all kids. The only time we ever got into a fight is the one time when Clarence, he beat the hell out of me, right? And I'm not ashamed to admit it. We were fighting over this girl named Tiffany that lived up the street that had a cousin named Isaac, right? So me and Clarence liked this girl. And we just got into a fight because I was trying to impress her and he was trying to impress her and all this other stuff. And that was the only fight. That was the first fight that I've ever gotten into. I mean, Clarence, he whipped my behind like completely. And to this day, Clarence and I, although we don't speak like every day, we may speak a few times in a year, but that dude, I mean, I love him to death. That's my guy. You know what I'm saying? And every time we speak with each other before we get off the phone, and I lie to you not, and this is not to challenge my manhood, but he says, "All right, bro, I love you, man," and I say, "Yo, bro, I love you back." You know what I'm saying? And that's not. Look, you can say what you want to say, but again, that's an adult thing. Now, if you want to clown on me for that, then it's whatever. You know what I'm saying? But 100%, I would tell anybody in the middle of the road, that's my guy, Clarence Coley. I love that guy to death, man. We grew up as kids. After we fought, it was like we was best friends after that. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much, I didn't want to get my butt kicked again, so you know what I'm saying? But that was my experience, right? So I lived there, and then I moved to Seat Pleasant. Now, Seat Pleasant is where I met the Williams, DeMario and Marcus and Mrs. Mary Williams and Jonathan Williams and Ronnie. And believe it or not, that family became my second family because I lied to you not. When I met DeMario, I think I met him before school let out, and I went to go spend the night over the Williams' house, right? And that was like the last day of school. From the last day of school till school started back up. And remember, when kids had spring break or summer vacation, we had it longer than 1 month. I think it was like 3 months. I never came back home. I stayed over his house from the time that day we got out of school till that day that we was going back to school. Now, mind you, this was back in the 80s or whatever. So I go to Palmer Park. And now I'm getting bullied. Right? But now I'm not understanding what I'm getting bullied for. Because the last neighborhood that I came from, I didn't get bullied. But now I'm getting bullied by these cats. And I remember names, right? Because, like I said, when you're bullied as a child, that carries over to you as an adult. I remember I was getting bullied by Andre King and Andre Younger. And, you know, there would be times where I was playing with the guy that was across the street from that lived across the street from Mario, and the guys would chase us up in the tree and throw snowballs at us. Now this is Andre King and Andre Younger, and I had to go to school with these cats, right? So I reached my boiling point. Hey, what's up, Redneck? I'm doing all right. Yeah, that's correct. They feel bad about themselves, right? So one day I went to school, and I had enough of being bullied, or I was going through something. It was something that was going on, but I just did not feel like it that day, right? So we get on the bus, and I think I was going to either Kenilworth Elementary. I believe it was Kenilworth in New Carrollton. So I get on the bus, and we had assigned seats on the bus. So I had to sit by this girl, right? I forget what her name was. But Andre King would always hit me in the back of my head. Every day. It would not fail. And I just got tired of it. That day, and this is a true story. That day he hit me in the back of my head, I flipped out. When the bus pulled off, he got out of his seat and he hit me on the back of the head. I had enough of it. I got up out the seat, because mind you, there's 2 rows. One side is 2 seats, and the other side is a 3-seater row, right? I was on the side where it was 2 seats. When I got up, I grabbed Andre Younger by the head and I banged his head up against that back window. Banged his head up against that back window. I was totally frustrated. Banged his head. The bus stopped. And who got yelled at? I got yelled at. Why am I getting yelled at when I'm getting bullied? And I finally decided to defend myself. So we get to school, and Andre Younger has all this blood on his head because I banged his head up against that glass. On everything, I was trying to make this dude run out of breath, right? So I get in trouble for that. That was the first incident. Now, after that incident, I got pretty much left alone in the neighborhood. Because now I'm this crazy kid now, right? I'm this mentally crazy kid. But the whole time is I was being bullied by this guy. Now, the bus driver saw it. Everybody on the bus saw it. But when Fred had enough, Fred had enough. Now, Allendale Place, Palmer Park, Burnside, all that other stuff. That's where I grew up. Now I'm able to walk to the store without cutting through the, if you know where Allendale Place is, if you go up that hill by where Reggie used to live at, there was this long staircase, and you used to cut through that. And I used to cut through that to go through to the Independent Market, right? I didn't have to do that anymore. I walked through Burnside, walked through where the police station was at, Independent Market, and the guys left me alone, okay? So fast forward, I'm in middle school now, right? Now we moved from Palmer Park to Forest Park. Now, I'm the new kid in the neighborhood, and these houses was already developed on one side of Tulip, and there were new houses on the other side of Tulip, right? We moved into the new side. So there was already kids there. So when I came there, now, mind you, I'm in like the either 7th or 8th grade. And for some reason, I used to be friends with this guy named Robert, right? I think Robert Turner. So it was me, Robert Turner, and some other dude that used to live up the street. We always used to go to his house to play like Nintendo or Sega. But one day, Robert just stopped talking to me, right? I'm like, dude, what did I do to you? You know what I'm saying? Like, we was best friends. I mean, we was the cats that we used to dance in the neighborhood. We used to go to the tennis court. We used to do the kid and play joint. We used to dance and all that other stuff up there. But one day, this guy just stopped talking to me. So I'm like, wow, what did I do to him? You know what I'm saying? Never know to this day why him and I just stopped talking, stopped being friends, right? So then I started getting bullied a little bit after that from the guys in the neighborhood. Then I'm getting bullied at school, right? So I'm going to Kenilworth, I believe, Kenilworth Middle School. So I'm getting bullied there. So much not getting bullied at Kenilworth, but just joning, right? Joning on the clothes that I wore and, you know what I'm saying? But at the neighborhood, I'm getting bullied. Now, I never got physically assaulted in the neighborhood until I had to fight two guys in the neighborhood. That was Tyrone and Sacado, right? And like I said, I remember these names, and you remember names when you go through traumatic things as a kid. So the whole neighborhood is like, I'm getting bullied by the neighborhood, right? So ninth grade comes, and I'm walking through from where the bus picked us up at from Largo, right? Back like not too far from the tennis court. There was a path that you can walk behind those houses and cut through, like where the irrigation field was. Now, mind you, when I first got to this neighborhood, I'm the weird kid because I'm catching tadpoles. I'm having like little exotic animal pets and stuff like that because, mind you, the development was still being developed and there was still a lot of wild animals there. So I had like snapping turtles. I had baby raccoons. I had a baby fox. I had a baby deer, but I think that ran away because the fence wasn't. We didn't have a fence in our backyard, and I used to hide the animals upstairs in my room. Right, I hid the raccoon, I hid the baby fox, but that's near here or there. But I'm the weird kid because I'm in the woods catching animals, right? So the guys would pick on me with that, right? Not until one day, I'm on the bus and I get off the bus. I think I was talking to one of my friends that lived up the street, and I forgot to get off the bus. So I got off the bus right there at Tulip, right? Because I think it was like 3 stops. It was one stop at one stop where the swimming pool was at, then the stop at the Tulip, and then the stop up the street where the bus would turn around and then go back out the neighborhood. But when I got off that stop, Tyrone had got off that stop. So what happened was, Wally and all these other cats that lived on the other side of the street, the so-called tough guys, right? And I say that so-called and put that in quotes. The so-called tough guys. They got off the bus. And now I'm like fresh meat, right? So Tyrone starts to pick with me. He knocks my books out my hand. And from there, I was like, I can't run. Number one, I got to pick up my books. Number two, I got these girls looking at me, right? That didn't really freaking care. Fort Tyrone. And I'm not bragging or I'm not boasting and I'm not welling at all. I beat the brakes off of Tyrone. I beat the brakes off Tyrone so bad that there was the neighborhood watch lady had 2 small kids, the ones that had those 2 little baby pit bulls that they let me have for like a week or so and took them back. She came out and she had to pull me off of Tyrone because I was welling on this guy. Now, see, the thing is that when I was growing up in Forest Park, I always got picked on, but nobody would step to me. You know what I'm saying? And that's facts. Nobody would step to me because I only fought 2 people in that neighborhood, right? So I fought him, and I never had to worry about Tyrone a day in my life. And the odd thing was, Tyrone was never one of the guys that was picking on me. It was the other guys that was picking on me. So I guess they told Tyrone to pick on me to see where it was going late. You know what I'm saying? Nobody jumped in. I beat the brakes off of Tyrone. The lady came out of her house, came to pull me off this guy, and I walked home. Never touched me again, right? Fast forward a couple of months later, or a year later, there was Sacado. I think this was 10th grade. Sacado and his brother moved in, right? Sacado was the youngest of the brothers, right? It was 2 guys. I can't forget what his other name is. His brother name is. So, and again, this is actually happened. So Sicardo had moved into the neighborhood, and I guess he wanted to be a cool guy. And the cool thing was to, guess what? Pick with Fred. Your initiation is, if you want to be one of the cool kids, you got to beat Fred up or do something to Fred. Okay. So, about 10 of these guys came to my house. Now, mind you, I didn't rock with anybody from the neighborhood because, like I said, Robert Turner was one of my best friends, and why we stopped talking and all that other stuff, I don't know to this day. So these guys come and ring my doorbell. I go to the door, open up the door. I see all these guys outside, right? So it was Wally that started this, right? Sharif Shahid's brother. Wally was the one that spearheaded this. So Wally says, hey, Fred, man, why don't you come outside? I got to holler at you about something. Now, that's not verbatim because I really don't remember what he said verbatim. But he asked me to come outside, right? What he didn't know is my sister was in the downstairs bathroom doing her hair. She had a blow dry. She was doing something with her hair downstairs in the bathroom, right? So I'm like, yeah. I come outside and then I see little Sicardo. Now, Sicardo's in the 9th grade. I'm in the 10th grade. Sicardo comes up and he was like, yeah, and all this other stuff, right? And then all these other cats start making noise. So I guess my sister saw it. I don't know from her end, and she won't, I guarantee she won't never come on the show. But she would tell you to this day, when she came out, she had a hairdryer in her hand. She was like, y'all not going to jump my brother. So me and Sicardo, we fought one-on-one. And I beat the brakes off of him too. So I thought it was over. But when my mother came home, and my mother could testify to this too, I guess my sister told her. And my mother came to me and she was like, what happened? And I told her what happened. So she was like, where does he live at? So we went over Sicardo's house, right? Not being a snitch because I didn't say anything. I just left it alone. Went over Sicardo's house. My mother told his parents what happened. And then he got a beating right there in front of me. Okay? So that was my bullying. And what these guys at Forest Park don't understand is that in eighth grade, I lied to get a work permit because I kept getting tired of being joned on for the clothes that I was wearing. You know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, my mother used to buy me Pro Wings. Thanks, Mom. She used to buy me Pro Wings, right? And I would have to wear that stuff to school. I remember my mother brought me a black shirt. She got it from Zayas. She had to. It had, everybody had fun tonight, everybody Wing Chun tonight. And that's what the whole t-shirt said. I thought that was the coolest shirt. My cousin Dax. He's not really my cousin, but Miss Dorothy. She had gave my mother a bag of clothes that Dax couldn't wear anymore. And when I got these clothes, you know, I tried to iron them and make them look like they were brand new. The one shirt I remember, the one outfit was a Coca-Cola outfit, right? And if you grew up in the 80s, you know, if you had a Coca-Cola shirt or the Coca-Cola outfit, you was the, you know what I'm saying, the bomb. So I don't know if these guys picked up these was used clothes or whatever, or hand-me-downs or whatever, but it is what it is. So my mother tried to provide for me the best way that she could, but I just got tired of being joned on about the shoes and the clothes that I was wearing. So I lied to, my first ever job was working at this Chinese place washing dishes on Ritchie Road. So by the time I had my own money and I was buying my own clothes, when I started working at McDonald's, that's when I met Keith. And then from there, it was a wrap. Out every weekend. You know what I'm saying? Then when I get to 9th grade, I'm still buying my own clothes. Still got a job. But I'm not getting picked on in the neighborhood so much. It's just that coming over from middle school, being in the same class with these guys in high school, it was just keep teasing back and forth. But by that time, my attitude kind of changed. The reason why my attitude changed is, and nobody knows this, right? And the reason why I'm sharing this is because maybe this is going to happen to your child or a child that you know. What happened was, when I started hanging out with Keith, I started going to clubs. I was going to the Classics. I was going to the clubs down Georgetown. I was meeting and hanging with older people. So when I met this one cat, I told him what I was going through, right? And he was like, "Oh, these dudes out there messing with you, dog." You know what I'm saying? By that time, I'm cool out in the streets, but I guess I'm this raggedy dude in the neighborhood. But nobody knew what I was doing, right? And I would say they was jealous, right? Because what 8th or 9th grader know that you know back in the 80s, they got a car or 2 cars and a job. I was working at Pizza Hut and I was working at McDonald's and I was getting money. So the cats that I was hanging out with was like, "Yo, want me to come around there and this, that, and the third?" I was like, nah. So a couple of days went past. He was like, "Here, bro." Not the exact words. He was like, "Here, if these cats ever run up on you, just take care of it." So what y'all don't know is ever since 10th grade, I used to carry a hammer on me. I'm not talking about banging nails in the walls. I carried a hammer, carried a tool, because I was so tired of getting bullied that I'm not going to get bullied anymore. I was tired of being afraid of walking and cutting through the woods just to go to the 7-Eleven. I was tired and afraid of walking down Ritchie Road, coming from my man's house that lived up the street, cutting through the woods so I wouldn't be punked by these guys at Forest Park Estates. I was tired of it, right? So I said, the next time one of these guys approach me or touch me, I'm going to pop them. And I really didn't care. Now, the reason why I say that is because you people that's out there bullying people, you don't know what's in store for you if you keep it up. And I'm saying this because this is a prime example. This is me. This is coming from experience. I could have had a body charge because I was being bullied. How can I be bullied when I'm working? I got cars. I got money. I got chicks. I'm messing with chicks that's not even in high school. I'm telling you, I was going to the Classics. I was going to the Ritz. I was going to Cheers, Crazy Horse. I was going to all these places as a 10th grader, 9th grader, because I look older for my age. I'm telling you, Keith and I used to go to the Classics every Tuesday, and every Tuesday they would say, "Who's anybody birthday?" And then me and Keith would always say, "Yeah, it's our birthday." And he was like, "Who want to dance with the birthday boys?" So I'm dating older women. My mother even bust me out for this because one of the females came to pick me up. I'm upstairs getting my clothes because I'm about to go and spend the week with them. I hear my mother downstairs say, "You know how old my son is?" By that time, it was a little bit too late. I was telling Shawty, "Hey, look, I gotta go to work in the morning. Whatever. I'll see you when I get off. Whole time I was going to school. So I'm being bullied, but yet I'm doing all this other stuff that these jerks that's beneath me, I can say, because I had much more going on than them, right? These clowns I had a 300ZX, my first 300ZX. These clowns broke into my car and stole my radio. And I never knew who did that. And this was around Forest Park. But I'm talking about ninth grade. No, did I meet him in ninth grade? It was in ninth or 10th grade. I carried a pistol with me everywhere I went. Everywhere I went. And it wasn't a 45. It was a 22. I think the first pistol I had was a Derringer. And it was a 2-shot joint. And my man was like, look, you know what I'm saying? But a Derringer is not really going to do anything. 2 shots. Beep, beep. That's like Abraham Lincoln stuff. I had a small 22. And I used to carry that with me everywhere I went. And if I got approached, I was going to pull it out. And I was going to murk somebody. Now I'm telling you, you parents that have kids that are bullying other kids, they and you are an asshole. I don't care if that kid is 3 years old and all the way up. If he or she is bullying somebody else at their school or in their neighborhood, you and that kid is an asshole. And let me tell you something, parents. Let me tell you something. These kids that are bullying your child, if your child is being the one that's being bullied, if they're bullying your child in school, what you need to do is you need to roll up to the school. You need to check that teacher, and you need to check, maybe not the principal, because the principal won't know, but that teacher, they know. Because when I was in middle school, not getting picked on, not being bullied, but just joning and stuff like that. But I think I did get into an altercation in my first period class. My teacher would sit there at her desk and she would hear the back and forth things, right? Because when you went to Kettering Elementary, or Kettering Middle, right? You sat in, was it Kettering Middle or Kettering Elementary? I don't remember. But your first period, the TV came on and there was like this little news station. And I remember Tevin Campbell was singing, "Tomorrow will bring better." They would play that and the teacher would turn the lights off and you would watch the morning announcements. I think the morning announcements was current stuff that was going on in the school and what you was going to have for lunch that day. So the teachers would, they would tell you whatever. I mean, that program. But the teacher would sit there right at the desk and see and hear everything. And I think I fought back once and I got suspended. I got in-school suspension. How did I get in-school suspension? Because I didn't mess with anybody, right? There was this one kid named Katie, this little chubby white kid. They used to pick on her all the time. I don't know if it was because of her weight or just because of the fact that she was white. And I used to defend this little girl. And I don't know if that got me in trouble or something. But how did I wind up getting in-school suspension when these cats that was sitting across from my desk was just all day? I remember Derek Turner, all day. Back and forth. And I'm the one that get in-school suspension, right? But eventually that stopped. But going back to high school, I carried a pistol everywhere. Because at that time, I was tired of just being picked on. Now, this story could have been a traumatic ending because if I would have pulled out that pistol, I would have used it. I would have squeezed that trigger and wouldn't have felt no remorse. Because after years of being bullied, you don't develop a callus. That wound's cut deep and it stays bleeding, right? So for you parents that kids are bullying other people, don't be too surprised is if your child is on the receiving end of something tragic more than an ass whooping. Because nowadays, these kids, they don't fight. They don't fight like we used to do in the 80s. You fought, and that was the end of it. Now, people got pistols, guns, knives, whatever. They got crews they can call and handle that situation. And then when it gets handled, then everybody is at the bully's funeral talking about, oh, he was this great kid and this, that, and he or she ain't do nothing and they was up. That is bull. That's bull. You want to know the true eulogy? Yeah, your kid lies here in the casket because they were an asshole and they kept bullying this kid and that kid had enough. So it's better him being in that coffin than him walking, because if he was walking again, if he got up again, that kid might just kill him again. Y'all don't understand that bullying don't just affect you as a kid, it affects you as an adult. And I'm telling you this from personal experience, right? So me, again, I don't care what nobody thinks of me. I don't care what nobody says. I don't care if you think this is embarrassing. I don't care about none of that stuff. Guess how many fucks I give? We can start at 0 and end there, right? I don't really care, because my testimony may fall on the ears of somebody that's going through what they're going through right now. And it may help heal that person or direct that person into a situation where they can get some help or some treatment, right? But being bullied has affected me even in my adult life. Because a lot of people wonder why whenever I go through something, I cut the world off. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a person that I have been talking to on the regular, like I'll talk to my man Mark, or maybe I'll talk to Lakeisha, or maybe I'll talk to like Ty and Quest, and other people that I fuck with. You know what I'm saying? If I'm ever going through something and you just don't hear, plenty of the mics that I know, and you don't hear something from me, that's because I just, no pun intended, I just pull out, right? Because it affects my social skills with people. When I'm going through something, I don't feel like being bothered with anybody, right? So I tend to kind of stay away, and I don't let anybody know that what I'm going through. I just back off and I just heal it in my way, So that may solve the mystery of people when they was like, okay, man, I used to talk to him every day, but damn, what happened? He ain't called me today. He ain't called me today. He ain't called me today. It's because if I'm going through something, that's just how my brain works, right? But any other time than that, if you know me on a personal level, right? If you know me personally, you have a different opinion about me. Now, I'm not talking about if you know me just from YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. If you know me personally, right? You've been to my house. We hung out. Shit like that. Like, yeah, Fred is a cool dude. Fred is this, that, and the third. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm any way the wind blows. I don't like drama. I don't keep company with drama. I like to drink my drink and I like to just chill and mellow out. But people will also tell you, and this would be family members, that leave Fred alone. Don't fuck with him. And not saying that to say like some under shit, but it's like, leave him be. Because he will kirk the fuck out. He will spaz. Leave him alone. And that's all that I want. Just, if you don't do anything to me, I won't do anything to you. But if I'm going through something, I'm just best just left alone. And that deals with issues coming from a lot of stuff when I was a kid, being bullied. And that graduates over to adulthood. Now, my path could have gone a million different ways, like it may have gone for somebody that's looking at this video. Your path may have went with criminality. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why you are the adult that you are today. What makes you an adult is what started you off as a child. Because as a child, you learned this, that, and the third. You learned right from wrong. You knew red from blue. You knew the gas pedal from the brake. And now you took all that stuff that you learned at childhood and you bring it over to your adulthood. For instance, and this is kind of out of the subject, but it's kind of in the subject. There used to be a show on Channel 20 called Captain 20, right? And I remember this to this day, and I do this as an adult. He said, this is how you boil an egg. This is how you tell when the egg is finished. He takes the egg, runs it under cold water, and he spins the egg, and the egg spins real fast. That's how you can tell when your egg is done. And I have learned that ever since I was a kid, and that stays with me. So every time I boil an egg, I'll boil an egg either until I see it crack, and then even when I still see it crack, I'll cool it off, take it out, and spin it on the table. And if it spins real fast, guess what? I know that egg is done. So I'm just telling you, everything that you learn from childhood makes you an adult. So if you go through traumatic turmoil as a child, what type of an adult that you think you're going to grow up to be? Now, let's just stick with the topic of bullying. If you're bullied as a child and you grow up as an adult and something doesn't intervene in that path to show you some type of positivity out of life, where do you think that you're going to end up? That's facts, man. So what I'm telling y'all is, if your child is out there being the bully, maybe they're going to be on the receiving side of something very tragic. And who will be the blame for it? It won't be the blame of the child that did it. It'll be the blame of your child, the one that kept causing the bullying. Now, let's look at... Now, I'm not a licensed doctor or nothing. This is just coming off the dome. Now, let's look at some of the cases of somebody that is bullying. Maybe they're bullying because of something that's going on at home. Maybe they're getting abused. Maybe they're something's going on at home, right? Maybe they're a kid that's just spoiled rotten and their parents don't know how to say no. So now they think they can get away with anything. It could be so many different reasons why a person is bullying another child. You need to come to find out the root of that. Because when your child is on the receiving end of being bullied, many kids don't like to talk about it. Because I didn't talk about it at all. And there may be a kid out there that's being bullied that don't want to say anything. That's holding so much pent-up aggression inside till one day they're going to explode. And I have exploded a couple of times because I never ran to anybody and say, hey, look, this is what happened. And you know the reason why I didn't run and tell anybody is because of when I retaliated from being bullied, I'm the one that got punished. How the fuck did I get punished? Because I'm defending myself. Every time. Every single time I retaliated by being bullied, I was the one that got punished. So why am I going to say, hey, I'm being bullied? They're going to protect the... Now, the people that were bullying me got no consequences at all. No repercussions at all. I'm the one that got in-school suspension. I'm the one that got suspended. This quiet kid, man, I used to love to read. Judy Blume was my favorite author. I used to love to color. I used to love to draw. There was so many talents I had. I loved to do origami with the paper and stuff like that. I used to make, me and my man Mario, we used to make paper transformers. I mean, I made paper transformers mainly because I could, my parents, they wouldn't get me the transformers, so I would just take notebook paper. I made the Optimus Prime and the truck and all that other stuff. A Galvatron and all, man, I made, yeah. If Mario ever sees this, yeah, he'll tell you, we made paper transformers. But I was a kid that had so much creativity. And I'm not going to say that it was taken away by me being bullied, but a lot of that stuff affected me as an adult. It affects the way that I handle relationships. It affects the way that I handle friendships. It affects the way that I interact with people. I tell y'all this. I'm getting a little bit better with it. But when I'm out in the street, the last thing I want to do is to be physically touched by somebody. Right? Now, if you know me, hey Fred, what's going on? Yeah. Oh, that's cool. But for a person to actually touch me, that sets me off. Like, you bump into me, like, hey, I get an attitude behind that. Because I just don't like that. Don't give me my space, right? But if you want to come up to me like, hey, what's going on? And you extend the hand out for a handshake. Yeah, I'll extend the hand out. But only people that I know. Not some new person. Not some random person. I don't like to be bumped. I don't like none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I'm very quick-tempered, right? I have this amount of patience with males. Now, females, all day long, I have patience with them, right? Because I got a daughter, I got a mother, and I got a sister. So I'm not going to put my hands on the female. I'll just walk away. Just leave me be. You go to your corner, I go to mine. Just leave me be for a minute. And then when I feel like resolving the issue, I'll do it. But don't force it on me. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't like to argue. Because, when I start arguing, I start stuttering and I start making up words and stuff like that. So I don't know how to argue. I really don't. Now with a dude, I don't know how to argue. I don't argue. Because if you get into my personal space, then, like I said, when you're being bullied as a kid and now you're an adult. Not that I had flashbacks. It's just that I'm not going to be laying on the ground, right? You're not going to get the best of me. So that's what I think of every situation. So I kind of cock back a little bit. Like all this. Now, I be the bigger man. Like, okay, you got it, bro. You got it. You got it. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? But I can't say too many of those. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. All right, cuz. All right. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. By the time I say that a couple of times, I'm like in I'm in fight mode. Now, dude all day can get it. Just leave me alone, right? There's no need for you to come at me with any type of animosity because I don't come at you with any type of animosity. Any dude that I meet, right? Anybody that I meet, off the break, I give you 100. So with that about me, if you take advantage of that, or you disrespect me in a way that I feel disrespected, then it's no words. I don't have to, I shouldn't have to say, man, I treated you better this. Nah, Slim, that reflects on my actions. If I say, hey, cuz, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's messed up what you did, right? You deserve anything that's coming after that. That's facts. You deserve everything that's coming out of that. Because I don't try to pull no snake crap over nobody, right? I treat everybody fair. But when you turn around and try to screw me over off some stuff, it's like, okay. When I was younger, it was like, yeah, these fists gonna come out. But now it's more like, all right, you play checkers and I'll play chess. I'll move in a different way. But still, it is what it is. And it's coming from stuff that happened when I was a kid. And I say this as a warning to anybody. What's up, Byron? I say this to a warning to anybody hearing. Don't bully people, because the person that is doing the bully is going to run into somebody one day eventually that is going to say, I had enough. I can't take this no more. And I'm done. And you're going to be on the receiving end of making brochures and finding memorable pictures and all that other stuff, because your child is now dead in a fucking casket. And do they deserve it? You guess what my answer is. Because you kept bullying this kid that did nothing to you. Absolutely nothing to you. It's not that child's fault that his parents can't afford Jordans or can't afford this, that, or the third, these nice clothes or whatever. It's not their fucking fault. But you want to tease somebody because you're more fortunate than their parents. You're not buying none of that. Look, you in 5th grade, unless you hustling, you ain't buying a goddamn thing for yourself. Them shoes that you got on your feet, you ain't buying them. Them drawers that you got, that you shit staining up, you ain't buying them. Them funky ass socks that you wearing, you ain't buying them. Your parents brought them. You ain't got a goddamn thing to do with none of them clothes that's on your body or none of the material things that you got in your house. Like I said, if you out there slinging rocks, selling weed, or doing whatever, that's on you. But if you one of these pissy ass, self-entitled kids that your parents give you everything that you want, which is a good thing, right? Great thing for a parent to provide their kid with everything that they want. But when your kid goes out and they don't appreciate that, and then go out there and start bullying people because, oh, I got Jordans and you got Skads or whatever the fuck, or kangaroos on and all this other stuff, and you start joning on them or bullying them, what makes you any better? Let me tell you something. When you bully a child, again, the child thinks that they are not worthy of living. They're wondering why. What the hell am I doing? Why is everybody picking on me? What is wrong with me? So they started looking at themselves like, am I ugly? Do I got buck teeth? Do I do this? Let me tell you something, y'all. You look at high school pictures of yourself when you was a kid, right? You look at some high school pictures of females when they was in high school, middle school, with the big bows on their head and all that other shit, right? Look at them now. Look at a lot of them now, right? A lot of beautiful women. A lot of handsome guys out there. You know what I'm saying? You're picking with them because of deformities or whatever the cause. They're not the fault of. Their parents not the fault of. Look, they're fucking human beings. There's nothing wrong with a child. Yeah, some people may joke, oh, you got a big nose and this, that, and all this other stuff. Why? Why are you going to pick on them? Right? You causing this child to have no type of self-confidence in their life. And what happens sometimes? A lot of kids can't handle it. And what do? They wind up killing themselves. Why? Because you're joning on them because they don't have no fucking Jordans. You're joning on them or you're picking on them because they don't have no fucking Jordans. Or you're bullying them because you don't have no Jordans. And their parents are fortunate enough to give them Jordans. And they go to school and they're not picking on anybody. They're not saying, hey, look at my feet. Look at my Jordans. I got on Jordans. There were plenty of kids that go to school. Their parents provided them all the stuff that they want. All the stuff that they didn't need. They go to school. And they don't bother nobody. They wearing the latest gear and they're not bothering nobody. They're not joning on anybody. They're friends with the person that's wearing the grandma dresses to school. Let me tell you something. There was this girl in Largo High School. I forget what her name was. But she had these big bifocal glasses. And her parents used to make her wear these grandma dresses, right? Her name was Kia. I forget what her name was. But the guys used to pick on her all the time because her parents used to make her go to school in these long ass dresses. She looked like she was going to church every day that she went to school. I was dating somebody at that time, and I think I befriended her. I don't know how we became friends, but she was a cool, nice little kid, right? One day she was crying in the hallway, and I'm being an asshole, because I had popularity in Largo High School. I had popularity at Largo. Not so much in the neighborhoods, but seeing her crying, I was like, what you crying for? Like, what's wrong with you? She told me what happened. She told me that the guys in the ROTC class was picking on her. I said, okay. I said, I got you. True story, again. So I went into Sergeant Phillips' class because it was 2 ROTC classes, right? I went inside the ROTC class, and I told them, and I don't know, this is not verbatim because I can't remember everything that was said. Said, if anybody picks with her again, I'm going to fuck all of y'all up, right? Oh, it was something to that. So I threatened everybody in that class. If they mess with this girl, that I was going to take action. I was going to beat them up or do whatever. She thanked me for that. I really don't think she had any more problems out of the people in the ROTC that I know of. Because again, I was a cool kid at Largo. I wasn't on the A list. I was more so the B list of popularity in Largo, right? I had my little crew. Plus, I had a job. I was smelling myself. I had I told y'all I used to carry, but I never told anybody. Never told nobody. You know what I'm saying? So I was walking around school with confidence. Got my own clothes, buying my own clothes, going to Pants Plus, going to Foot Locker, buying my Timbs, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I was the man. At least I thought it was. At least on the B side of Largo. But I'm saying this to y'all again, trying to emphasize that it's going to happen one or two ways. The person that you bullying is either going to grow up and have a defective life, not going to have real social skills. They're going to struggle with some part of their adult life in developing relationships with other adults. Because I deal with that. I deal with that. And that's because of the shit that went on when I was a kid. And I'm telling you firsthand. Yo. I don't know what happened, and I don't know why I never squeezed the trigger. But something stopped me from squeezing that trigger so many times. Because when I stopped cutting through, now this is when I was living in Forest Park. When I stopped cutting through the woods, I just walked on Tulip and went right down Forest Park. And I dared you to come up to me. Or you was going to get one. It wasn't going to be no words. You was going to get one. But it never even panned out like that. Never even panned out that way. But I was ready. And you know why I was ready? Because of being bullied. So I was ready to take a life because of what I was going through as a kid. I was ready to take a life and didn't give a damn about who life it was because of the kids that was bullying me. Y'all better be careful, man. If you are the one that's doing the bullying, if you are the bully, I don't care how old you are, you are an ass. You are 100% an asshole. Asshole. That's what your new name is. You are 100% asshole. What are you bullying? Why are you bullying? Why? And parents that know that their kids are bullying, you're an asshole too. You're a double asshole. You think it's funny? You think it's funny for a child to sit up in their bedroom at night and wonder why they are not accepted by their peers? You think it's funny that kids think that they're not good enough to breathe anymore, and then they take their lives? You think that shit's funny? Would it be funny if that child that they're bullying wound up taking your child's life? Would it be justified? Would you be laughing then? Would you think it's funny? Now, I think that every child has a right to defend themselves. If you're being bullied, defend yourself. Because bullies are like wolves. They just don't come single. They come in a pack. And they hang with other idiots that are bullied. That are being bullied. Or are bullied into being bullied. And now you wonder why some adults in society move the ways that they do. I'm trying to tell y'all, what affects you as a child makes you grow into an adult. That's how you become an adult. All the ingredients that you put in your child is what you get in when they become an adult. Now, sometimes they may go, when they get to their 40s and 50s, they may calm down or start seeing the light. Or what happens is that person that was doing the bullying, they have kids, and now their kids are being bullied. Now they're, why are you bullying my child? Weren't you the same person in fucking 5th grade that was bullying that person right there? And now you wondering why your child is being bullied? You reap what you sow. Karma is a bitch. Look, I don't think violence is good on any circumstances. At any circumstances. I don't think violence is the answer to anything. Now, this is coming from a person that don't give no fucks about nothing, right? Like, I'm ready. But that's not the answer all the time. Yet people do deserve it. You must look at it at a different life. You must just look at it in a different light, right? You're always taught to be the bigger person. You're always taught to turn the other cheek. And when you turn the cheek, somebody wants to slap you on it. And then when you turn the cheek the other way, somebody wants to slap you on it again. How can you win? How can you win? How can you win when you strive to be the good person and you just keep getting backed up in the corner? What are you supposed to do? Now, I urge everybody that's going through something, if you're going through some type of tragedy, it is not weak, especially in the black community. It's not weak to go out there and seek help. If you don't have money for a therapist, talk to somebody. Talk to one of your boys. Talk to one of your girls. Talk to a trusted person at church. Trusted person at church. Because don't even let me get on the church thing. You in the liquor store on Saturday and you in the church on Sunday. So, a trusted person at the church. Or somebody that you just feel comfortable with. Talk to that person. Get your frustrations out, right? Because, again, the reason why I do this and the reason why I share this information with y'all, again, because a lot of people say, man, that you embarrassing yourself and all that other. I wouldn't do it. So what? That's you. That's not me. I'm trying to tell y'all, there's somebody that's going to see this. Or there's somebody that's out there that may be going through the same thing that I went through as a child. And you may not have the resources or the finances to seek help. You may hear this and say, let me look at the outcome a different way. Because mind you, I tell you, all through high school, I carried a pistol and nobody never knew. And the only reason why I carried that pistol is because I was afraid when I got off the bus that I was going to get into a confrontation. I was afraid that when I walked through the neighborhood just to go to 7-Eleven to get me a Slurpee, that I was going to run into confrontation. I was afraid when I went up to my friend's house, the white guy that lived up the street, that I was going to run into some confrontation. See, what the weird thing was, the dudes I hung with on the other side of Forest Park, like if you go out of Forest Park, you make a left, you go up the street on Ritchie Road, you make that first right, them cats I hung with, right? I didn't have a problem with, I had a problem with one of them. But the rest of them dudes, I hung right there. I didn't hang with the dudes in Forest Park. I hung with them dudes. And them dudes accepted me, right? My man Keith Young, I damn sure know that we related. The bird girl with the nose, right? And then Ignatius. All the people from that Chantrail, all the people from that side, I hung with them. They accepted me I'm not even living in their neighborhood. They live in the houses. I live in the townhouses. They accepted me over there. So anytime I hung out, I would hang out over there. But I would still carry my pistol. But I didn't have to worry about pulling it out on anybody over there. I had to worry about pulling that joint out on them guys at Forest Park. And I would have. I had to worry about pulling it on somebody in school. And I would have. So again, I'm telling y'all, if you think bullying is just kids being kids, you are part of the problem. Because it's not. Because when it affects you as an adult and you don't know how to deal with certain situations, or you can't deal with certain situations, that's a problem. As an adult, you're supposed to have already learned from the mistakes of your childhood. You're supposed to be articulate in the way that you speak, in the way that you handle yourself, and your mannerisms. You're supposed to have all of that stuff out. Yeah, we can joke and play and goof off and all that other stuff. You're not supposed to be like this serious person 24/7. You're not supposed to be that. You're supposed to be able to play. You're supposed to be able to have fun. You're supposed to be able to do the things that you couldn't do when you was a kid and still get up in the morning and do your 9 to 5 and pay your bills and then this, that, and the third. You're still supposed to be able to do all of that stuff. But when you run into roadblocks and difficulties and all this other stuff, you have some type of traumatization that's coming from somewhere. And I know where mine is coming from. Do I seek help for it? Nah. Should I? I should. But by this time, I'm already self-medicating. And I don't mean with alcohol or drugs and stuff like that. Now, I do drink my Crown Royal, and it's not just because, you know, I'm dealing with depression and all that other stuff. I just drink it because I love to drink it. I don't go out and, you know, go over somebody's house and drink some Crown Royal and be like, oh, I'm about to go home. You know what I'm saying? When I come in the house on a Friday, like when I'm about to get off here, I'll pull me 2 shots and I'm good. That's when I'm going through something and when I'm not. It is what it is. So I'm asking anybody that's listening to me now, if you are going through any type of depression, if you are being bullied, if you know somebody that's being bullied, try to get them the help that they need, because you don't know the psychic of that person. You don't know what their next move may be. It may be a tragic one to themselves, or maybe a tragic one to somebody else. And sometimes they may not lash out on the bully. They may lash out on somebody else that's not the bully. Something may trigger them off, and now they're unstoppable because of the stuff that they're going through. You know, prime example, when I was younger and I used to fight, it would be hard to pull. Other than Clarence whipping my ass when we were small, we fought. Now we're the best of friends. After that fight, like Forest Park and Allendale Place and all that, Palmer Park and all that other shit. Seat Pleasant and Forest Park. When I fought, it was hard for somebody to pull me off of them, because I could have seriously injured somebody fatally, because I had rage so built up that when I exploded, it was hard for me to pull them off. Now, when I beat up Tyrone, that was years of Andre King and all them guys from Seat Pleasant. That's all I saw. And that lady had to come out the house and had to pull me off of Ty. They had to pull me off. And I'm like, and I'm like, I'm welling on this guy. And now I got to talk to my sister and see if she remember. But I know she remember that day when I whipped Sicato's ass and she came outside with her hair dry and said, ain't nobody going to jump my brother. When I got I remember I hit Sicato. When I hit him, he went on the grass. Then I came down on him. Pop, 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 pop. He couldn't touch me because the way I was over his chest and my knees was blocking his hands. So the only thing he could do is hit like my thigh. He couldn't touch nothing else because I had him down. And pop, 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 pop. I was just welling on this kid, man. And I think I had stopped. Tell you a perfect example, another one, and I'm about to get off because I got something I got to do. I was working at Taco Bell in College Park. True story. I was working at Taco Bell in College Park, and at this time, I was dating this girl named Faith. I never forget it. Me and Faith had an argument about something, and I went to work. All right? Now, my cousin Cornelius had got me this job, right? Because I had already worked at a previous Taco Bell in College Park. This was years later when I came back to work at Taco Bell. This is my third time working at Taco Bell. I worked at the one in Forestville. Then I worked at the one in College Park by the bookstore, by the college. Then I worked at the one that was by the Burger King or the Sizzlers or whatever. So I come to work, and this foreign guy was, no. Now, I haven't made a taco in, freaking a year or so. But it wasn't that difficult to make. Okay. If it ain't a Supreme, you don't put sour cream on it. That's the only fucking difference, right? But I just kept getting mixed up with the Burrito Supreme and other stuff. But this guy, this foreign guy would just constantly yell at me. And I think he was Arabic or Indian guy, right? And if you ever dealt with an Indian guy or foreign people, you know that they talk with authority, right? So like, you could probably hear two Asian people be like, and it was like, damn, he yelling this shit at them. You know what I'm saying? He may just be like, did you have a nice day today? Yes, I did. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just the way that they talk. But that day, I just had enough. And he started yelling at me, and me and Faith was already arguing about something. And that's all it took. So he's making his sandwich. Actually, I remember this vaguely, but I remember him having on a headset because he was working drive-through, and he kept yelling at me about something. And I'm the main person making food. I'm making food for the front end, and I'm making food for the drive-through. So it's getting kind of hectic. He started yelling at me. Man, I cocked back. Bap, 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 bap. And and I stopped. I think I stopped because he wasn't fighting me back. But man, I tore this cat up. Well, needless to say, I got suspended, and then I never came back. Right? Again, I gave this guy so many passes, and he kept yelling at me for no reason. Oh, I'll tell you another one. So I'm working at Dog Car Lincoln Mercury, and I had no money this day. No money. Now, previously, I gave one of these porters 50 cents to get something from the soda machine. So, this day, and that was my last 50 cents, right? Last bit of change I had. So this day, I'm not eating nothing the whole day, and I'm tired of drinking from the water fountain. I see him come in. I'm like, hey, bro, you got 50 cents? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I can get something to drink. This guy comes to me and say, nigga, I ain't giving you shit. So his girl was out in the Lord. If you ever been a dog called Lincoln Mercury up there in Clinton or by Iverson Mall, there's this little pathway where the cars pull in, and you will park your car right there to get it serviced. Well, his girl was sitting in the car. He came out. His girl came out. I went to the bathroom Because I'm like, no, this nigga didn't just say this. And he did this in front of his girl. So when I get out the bathroom, I look around. There's nobody there. I jack this dude up. Slam him on the soda machine. Because now I'm in rage. Right? It's like, you gonna give me my fucking money. So I'm jacking this dude up over 50 fucking cents. 50 cents. Put him down, take his food. Now, is that bullying? It was probably bullying. But again, that was rage coming from what I experienced when I was a kid. Because what guy is going to kirk out over 50 cents? 50 cents. 2 quarters. And I took his food. All right. I'm going to give you one more. And I'm going to go. So, I'm working and my mother's on Facebook, right? I'm working this Bronner Construction. And we're doing deck punches, debris shields, jersey wall repairs and stuff like that. So every day we're coming home dusty. Dusty as concrete all over us. There was this one cat that used to kiss ass so much. Our foreman name was Bobby, right? He used to ride with Bobby all the time. Kiss Bobby's ass. This would be the only guy that when we come back to the yard, he still got a crease in his pants, his little construction hat not dirty, and this is 2 stories out of this one. Brian and this cat. But I'm gonna leave that one alone. But all of that, now this was in my adulthood. Long story short, at the end, he tried to snitch on me. And I think they fired me the day that my mother had dropped me and Will off. Because Will was, me and Will worked together, right? He said that I took some gas. And when they came back to the yard, they pulled up the gas can and he was like, nah, Bobby is full. I was like, this nigga right here, man. And so my mother drops us off and they wouldn't let me work that night. Or they fired me or something like that. I, again, took his lunch and I threw that shit out in the woods. Because we was working nights doing like the bridges, right? And that he made me so mad. I took his lunch and I threw that shit in the woods. Like, nah, since I can't work tonight, you're not gonna eat tonight. Was that bullying? Yeah, it was. And that's coming from childhood traumatization. Me and Brian never got along. This is when we worked at Bronner Construction again. And Brian tried me one day. And again, one night I couldn't work. But that next morning when they got back to the yard later on that night, because we would work up until about like maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. From like 8 o'clock in the afternoon to 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, when Brian got back to the yard, the car that he brought from me was just totally destroyed. The windshield and all that other stuff. I don't know how it happened. Childhood trauma. So, I'm going to get off this. But I'm telling you this because, again, bullying a child affects them in their adulthood. So if you know of a child that's being bullied right now, it is a dangerous situation, because you don't know how that child is going to be a outcome when they gain adulthood, when they're able to have access to certain things like guns and other weapons that will harm you or everybody else. Now, I'm not defending nobody that is doing these mass school shootings, but what happens is every time I hear about a mass school shooting, it's done by some kid that they kept picking on. And everybody wants to take their attention away from the child that did the mass school shooting and put it on the people that has been affected, which they should do so, because I don't believe, if you're going to retaliate, don't retaliate on nobody other than the person that needs that retaliation. And I'm not going to change my words. That needs that retaliation, right? You deal with that person. You don't deal with anybody else, any other bystanders, innocent bystanders. And then when that happens, now everybody's upset because people are harmed, people are dead. Why? Because of the way that they're bullied. Now, it's not only kids that get bullied. When you become an adult, there are adults that bully other adults. And that's another. Now, I've never experienced that. I've never been an adult and been bullied by an adult. So I can't speak on that. But I would imagine that that's not a good thing, because that person's not a kid. Now, they have access to a lot more things that that child doesn't have access to. They may have a driver's license. They may have a car. They may have money. That's all you need. That's all you need. Or not even a driver's license. All you need is money in a car. Money in a vehicle. It could be a money in a bicycle. Money in a 10-speed. Or quick hands in the 10-speed. You bullies are playing a dangerous game. Dangerous. And they can show you better than they can tell you. I'm just saying that it's not cool, man. It's not cool for you to bully somebody just because of either things that they don't have that you have, or the kind of physical presence of them. Everybody is beautiful in somebody's eye. I don't care if you have a deformity. I don't care if you have a mental problem. I don't care if you have a speech impediment. I don't care about none of that stuff. All I care about is if you're a good person. If you're a good person to me, I'm a good person to you. It doesn't matter any of that stuff. White or black. You know, on this show, I talk a lot about black and white relations. And, you know, I talk about cops and stuff like that. And sometimes people may be like, oh, he racist. I'm not racist. And I'm not going to use the racist term like, oh, I got a white friend. No, I'm not racist. If you know me personally, I just hate assholes. Now, you could be white, you can be black, you can be Hindu, you could be Indian, you could be Oriental, or you could be any of that stuff. I don't care. I value every friendship that I have. And I don't care about none of that stuff. I don't care about the color of your skin tone. I care about the manner in which how you handle yourself. Right? That's what I care about. If you're good to me, I'm good to you. If you're an asshole to me, then we can't rock. And this is whether you're white or black. It don't matter. So, it's sad. And somebody's going to look at this video and think that it's funny. Somebody's going to look at this video and think that what I'm saying is a whole bunch of BS. But continue to watch the news. And you're going to find out what I'm saying is so factual. Stop bullying. Point blank. If you are the person that is bullying, you have a limited window before something happens to you. Tragically, or just scratches here or there. But you're going to bully the wrong person, and it may be fatal. You want to lose your life over joning on somebody because they don't have Jordans? That's what you want to lose your life over? And the people that are getting bullied, if you're in that corner, note this. I don't care if you're white, black. I don't care if you're female or male. I don't care if you're foreign, if you're American, whatever. They are jealous of you for something. Some reason they are jealous of you. What that jealousy is coming from, I don't know. But there's something that they are hating in themselves that they see in you. So just remember that. Don't think about taking your life. If you're thinking about taking your life because you're being bullied, please reach out to somebody. A lot of you don't feel comfortable with talking to your parents. I get it, because I never did. But I know you feel comfortable with talking to one of your homeboys or one of your girlfriends. I know you feel comfortable with talking to them. Talk to them. Talk to somebody. Somebody that you can trust. And get it out. And if you're being bullied and you're backed into the corner, defend yourself with these. You know what I'm saying? If you got to. Or use your verbal. Use your words. Please don't consider taking your life. Just think of it this way. If you're a video gamer, there's a new Xbox that's going to come out in a couple of years. There's another PlayStation that's going to come out in a couple of years. Do you want to kill yourself and you have not played the PlayStation 6 or the Xbox Series J, C, K, F, D, whatever the hell they're going to call the next one? I'm making a little light of it to break up some of the seriousness. But there's so much more to live for than taking your life. So much more. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of stuff in this world that you may not have experienced yet. Don't do it. They are the cowards, not you. They are the losers, not you. Because when you are being bullied, there is something inside you that they see that they hate themselves for not being. And I get it. Them niggas around Forest Park, when I had money, when I had cars, I was going to clubs. When they walked inside McDonald's, oh, Fred working at McDonald's. When they walked inside Pizza Hut, damn, Fred working at Pizza Hut. I got money, Slim. My mother not buying me these clothes. My mother not buying me these cars. My mother not buying me these shoes. I'm buying that shit myself. Oh, y'all mother still buying y'all. You still getting allowance? Nigga, you still gotta take the trash out to get $4 that week? Or you gotta hustle and eventually get caught? Nah, nigga. I'm W-2s. That's what I am. I'm paying taxes, Slim. 2 jobs. At one time, it was 3. I was working Pizza Hut, McDonald's, Pizza Hut, and KFC. Money. I was getting that bread. That's why I was so popular. And I was going out. Me and my man Keith. Every weekend, we was going out. Every weekend, I had money in my pocket. At that time, like $300 was a lot. You know how much $300 could do? Well, we only, what I give Keith, maybe $5 or $10. Put it in the tank, and we riding all night. Going to the gas station on Enterprise Road, it was 99 cents a gallon. Nigga, we riding all night. Going to Baltimore, we riding all night. You was jealous, cuz. I was the first kid in the neighborhood that was doing W-2s, filling out W-2s. I had money. Now, on top of that, now I'm starting to see, oh, well, yeah. Oh, those are females. Yeah. So, they're jealous. They're jealous of you in some way. Because, see, them niggas at Forest Park, they couldn't hop in a car and go do what they couldn't go hang out. Because ain't nobody have a car. Who had a car? Who had a car when we was in 9th grade? Who had a car? I had a car. Or I had access to a car. They didn't. I'm getting texts from people at my job. I don't know why. But it's 4 o'clock, so I'm off. All right, y'all. I'm going to get up out of here because I got some business I got to handle. But that's all I wanted to say. Bullying, it's not the way to go. So, all right, y'all. It's Over Prime episodes are being filmed this weekend, and I'm so excited. There's not a lot of video games coming out. Oh, I got 7 minutes left. Transferring some files. So, we got a lot of stuff that we doing this weekend. So yeah, man. Just don't be a bully, because you'll find yourself seriously either hurt or somewhere in the grave. Somebody mama's gonna be wearing a black dress because you wanna pick on somebody because their parents can't afford to get them Jordans. It's just stupid. Stupid as hell. Y'all be easy. See.